All right, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.
And before we get started, we'd like to give our praise, honor, glory to where it's due to Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Him,
Bahashem, Yahweh
Yahweh
Shai,
Shem
Bahashem, Rachak
Chakadash,
Kudash.
Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the word ignorantly and incorrectly calls God, Bahashem in the name, Yahweh Shai, the true name of the only begotten Son, our Lord and Savior, who the word ignorantly and incorrectly calls Jesus Christ, Bahashem in the name, Rachak Kodash, the Holy Spirit. We'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who were well and who taught us this truth. And peace, blessing, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. May the blessing of election fall upon you and your household. To you we say, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.
And today, this is the branch of the Kentucky Hebrew Israelite Church coming back to you today with another Shabbat lesson, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Chakwadash. And as you see the title, it is entitled, What Shall Be the Sign of Thy Coming and of the End of the World? And today is May 15th, 2022, the year of Yahweh Shemishai turning up, the year of the turn up. And, things are really turning up. We got a couple articles going into the year of the turn up, going into the signs that gave unto us, to know what shall be the sign of thy coming, to know when Yahweh Shai is near, to know when we know that we are at the end of this world. We are another day closer to the end of Esau's kingdom. We're another day closer to the Yahweh Shai's coming. Another day closer to the kingdom of heaven. And these signs that we see today are signs showing that we are ever so closely to the soon return of Yahweh Shem Yasha, when he's going to crack those clouds, as it says in Romans 13:11. For now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we once believed. And that salvation is now, man. And, it also says in Acts 1, it says, is now the time that thou shalt restore the kingdom again to Israel. And, it wasn't that time then, but we know through the signs that we're seeing and they're continuing to intensify that this is that time, man, when Yahweh Shai is going to come back, when he's going to come back and destroy this wicked place. You got it, bro.
Yeah, Khan, absolutely. And so, we in that time, and this is a prophecy in the news Shabbat lesson because me and the brother we were fellowshipping with the GMS Nashville camp, and so we didn't have our own camp this week and do our prophecy in the news. So this is the prophecy in the news for this week here in the Shabbat lesson. Okay. All right. And so we're going to be getting, like the brother said, we got a couple of articles going into the coming famine, and we got which Salakia, we got a couple of articles going into the famine, which is already here, that is going to be intensifying. Okay. Because the famine's already here. Okay. Hyperinflation is here. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. So let's get that through the spirit real quick, and we're going to kick it off with that because the hyperinflation is here. The famine is here. The the famine is just not severe yet. It's not sore. It's not grievous yet, but it is here, and it's undeniable. Bare shells biting, empty shells biting,
Hmm.
prices through the roof. Half the time you can't get what you used to being able to get. You got to get a substitute or a substitute for the substitute. The famine is here. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got hyperinflation. Okay. Hyperinflation is here. Okay. Is it maxed out hyperinflation like Zimbabwe type hyperinflation, Venezuela type hyperinflation? No, not yet. Not yet. But what we're experiencing here in America, Babylon the Great, and all other parts of the world have already experienced the hyperinflation to a greater degree than we're experiencing it here. But
Mm-hmm.
what we're experiencing here is already low level hyperinflation. Okay. When you go to get something one time and the prices jumped up 26, 25, 26, 27%, and then you go to get it a second time that, 2, 3 weeks later, a month or two later, and the prices jumped up another 15, 20%, and then you go to get it a time after that, and it's not there on the shelf. You can't find it, and then you go to get it a time, another 3-4 months, maybe 2 weeks after that, and the price has jumped up another 15-20%. That's hyperinflation.
Yep.
Okay. All right. You go to get your gas, back before all this started, it was just, I don't know for sure, but something like just like 6 months ago when gas was like $2.90,
Right.
maybe right around $3. Now it's well up over $4,
Yep.
right? Okay. That's hyperinflation. Okay. And you go you go one time to get your gas, and it's $3.99. You go time to get it again, it's you get gas the next day, 4.09, 4.15. You go get it the next day, 4.29, 4.34.
Yep.
And that's hyperinflation. But the biggest way to see the hyperinflation, because sometimes gas prices fluctuate up and down fast, quickly. Okay, man, maybe that's not hyperinflation. Okay, but when you go see your groceries don't fluctuate like that. And that's what you're experiencing in your groceries. From week to week, prices are jumping up in some cases, sometimes. Not always, but it is happening.
Yep.
Okay? I'm noticing it, and you damn near can't set a grocery budget, you know. Every time you set your grocery budget, okay, well, this is what we're gonna spend on groceries, and then next time you go grocery shopping, you gotta adjust that up. That's hyperinflation. You
That's
see?
right.
So we already have low level hyperinflation. We already have famines. And so we're getting into the famines, which are already here, which are going to intensify and it's going to intensify from being a mild famine to being a very sore and grievous famine. Matter of fact, the worst famine ever, because we're in the end of times. We're in
That's
the
right.
end of the age. And Yahweh Shah Mashiach said, for it's going to be a time such as never has been on the face of the earth, no, nor ever shall be. And you can back that up with Jeremiah 35:6-7, and you can back that up with Daniel 12:1, as well as other passages as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're getting into the famine, and we're going to get into the wars and the rumors of wars. The chief war is going to be that Third World War. Okay, so we're going to be getting into those two things as our prophecy and the news. So without any further ado, bro, let's get that Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, and we'll bounce right from there to Mark 13, and we'll get into the first article.
This is Habakkuk 2 and verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry.
Yeah, the vision is yet for an appointed time. The vision is another word for prophecies. Okay, these are the visions because Yahweh Shema Shah said that if he speak to a prophet, doth he not speak to that prophet through dreams and visions? That's what John the Revelator, as he's referred to, saw in the Isle of Patmos. He saw visions. Okay, so these
Mm-hmm.
visions are prophecies. Okay, for the vision, the prophecy is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Because why? When it's not the time and the time is still far out in the future, it looks like that prophecy is a lie. It looks like that prophecy isn't going to come to pass. It can never come to pass. That could never happen, right? That's what it looks like, right? Though it tarry, in other words, though it takes a long time to be fulfilled, it's not going to be fulfilled until the appointed time. Just wait for the appointed time. Wait for it, because it will surely come. Ain't no doubt about it, man. Not one of these shall fail, not one shall want to meet. These words are faithful and true. At the end, it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Once it's time to be fulfilled, it's not going to be slack at all, man. It's going to be fulfilled right at the appointed time.
That's
You
right.
see, and that's what we see. We see this. We see the prophecy speaking right now. Ain't nobody going to be saying, nah, the famine can never happen. Ain't nobody be saying that right now. Ain't nobody going to be saying, nah, World War III can never happen. Ain't nobody going to be saying that right now, right? See, we're in that time when the prophecies are speaking. Let's get to
Yep.
Mark 13, bro.
So this is Mark 13, verse 3, and it reads, and as he sat, it's like, I don't know why this is right there. Mark 13 and 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? Verse 5. And Yahweh answering them began to say, Take heed, lest any man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. Verse 7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet.
Right. Right. These things must needs be, but the end is not yet. Bro, you click on the NLT and see how that's worded. Just want to. I know for the passage that's in Matthew, it words it. If I remember correctly, it words it in a way that really makes the intent of what Yahweh Shah was saying there clearer. But I don't know if it brings the edification out that well in the Mark passage. So let's just see how that same verse you just read.
It says,
Yeah,
Mark
yeah,
13,
yep, it's the same thing. It brings it out pretty good. So go ahead and read that, Baba Kasha.
Mark
And that
13,
verse 7. That verse 7.
yeah. It says, Mark 13:7, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately.
Yeah, and that's it. Because the whole point of what the disciples are asking Yahweh Shah Mashiach Salakia is, how are we going to know when it's the end? How are we going to know when it's the end of this age? How are we going to know when your return is near and it's the end of this age? So everything that he's saying to them is to answer that question. He's not going to tell them something and then be like, well, this has nothing to do with the end. That's not what he's saying when he says, but the end is not yet. What he's saying is, yeah, when you see these things, when you hear wars and rumors of wars, when you see the famines and the pestilences and the earthquakes in diverse places, it's the end. It's that time. It's that period. You're in that time. When my return is close, you're in that time when the end of this age is close, but it's not immediately at that time. That's all he's saying. You're in that time. This is the answer to your question, but you need to know something. When you see these things, you know that you're in the time that you're asking about, but it's not going to happen like that day, the next day. There's still a few things that are going to need to happen, and then it's going to follow immediately after those things.
Right.
All right. And those things would be, specifically, the biggest of those things would be for the Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 thing to be made mandatory and pushed on the whole world, which could happen this year.
Yeah.
Everything's in place for that to happen. All they need to do is spring the final trap, which
You
is
said,
going to be, huh?
I was going to say, you said that the Revelation 13 got to come on the thing, and then you got that rooster in the background
Yeah. The rooster had to chime in with that. That's right. That's the truth right there.
Right.
Yeah, man. Because that could happen this year, man. Everything's already in place. They already told you what they're going to do next. Now they do. They're not perfect on the left hand side, so sometimes things get delayed or what have you. But they already told you what their plan is,
Yeah.
and really through the spirit, I don't see it changing. I see them. I see them pushing through with this, and that's to push that bird FLU. They're gonna push that bird FLU, man, and then and through the spirit, I fully expect that's when they're gonna push that Revelation chapter 13 verses 16 through 18 thing, man. I believe that's when they're gonna do it, because that's an integral part of how they're going to combat that bird FLU, right? Because they're going to be able to detect the FLU in your in your bloodstream with the thing, and they're going to be able to track the status of your fadeaway from the corner. They're going to be able to check the status of your fadeaway. I don't even know if it's okay to say SHOT. Me and the brother, we're on our backup pages right now, because even though we use our key words and our substitute words, we still get strikes.
Yep.
So they're going to keep track of your fadeaway with with that Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 through 18 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also they're going to be able to detect the bird FLU in your blood.
That's right.
How the hell do you not use that then? How the hell do you not push that? What I see them saying is we got to use this. This is our best chance to get this bird FLU, which the former CDC director said that's going to be the real the real demic.
The great.
And he said that's the next one. It's going to be the real one. He said, oh yeah, this Crown Victorious, yeah, that's I mean, but that ain't going to be the one that really does us damage. That's going to be the bird FLU, and it's coming next. That's what he said.
Yep.
And Kill Bill Gates of hell told y'all that the next demic is coming.
Yep.
And then Mike Pompeo told you when the Crown Victorious was just getting kicked off. He told you, look, this is just a live exercise.
Yep.
See, put all three of those things together, man. Now they're telling you what they're going to do next, and how do they not push that jump, that fadeaway? How do they not push that? Because they already told you, man. We got the technology, and this thing is going to be able. Well, not that. That's the jump. That's the fadeaway. This thing is going to be able to detect the FLU, whatever it is in your system, and it's going to, and we can track the status. We can track your fadeaway percentage. And as long as your fadeaway percentage is 100%, then you can go where you can travel, go wherever you want to go. All right. And if you get that FLU, then we're just gonna have to just scan that thing, scan that thing, and it'll tell us that you got it. And then see. So how do you not use that to combat this next thing? How do they not do that? And besides, that's the whole end game. That's really what they want to do anyway.
Yep.
Right. So. See, so all these things, we in that time. All these things can come to pass. So, but that has to happen. We know we in that time, but what I just described, that and or you can get it for the head, right? That has to happen and be made mandatory first, along with Jacob's trouble, famine of the word, Isaiah 4:1, and the third world's war, which is the third woe of Revelation 11 and 14, going all the way hot, because it's here. It's just getting started though. But for it to go all the way hot, those are the things that need to happen. And then we're any day now. Okay.
Yep.
See, right now we're in that time, but it's not any day yet.
Mm-hmm.
But when those things happen, then it's any day. That's what Yahweh Shah Mashiach is saying. Read that in verse 7 again one more time, bro. And then we can switch back to the KJV.
Mark 13:7, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately.
Right. The end is immediately after the things that I just described, the last handful of prophets. You say, well, that kind of sounds like a lot. It sounded like you said like 5 or 6 things. It's going to happen like this. It's going to happen fast.
Yep.
And like I said, it could, that trigger prophecy, which is the thing, Revelation 13:16 through 18, that trigger prophecy, that could happen this year. I'm not saying it is. I don't know for sure that it will, but it could be this year. So that's how. See, that's what I'm saying. Yahweh Shah Mashiach saying, you in that time, but it's not immediately yet. Mm-hmm. And then we put the other prophecies together and we say, okay, yeah, that's right. These prophecies had to happen. We know we're in the time, but before it happens, we know these things need to occur, and they haven't occurred yet. We see it there. It's ready to get, it's ready to get fired off. It's ready to actually be fulfilled. Everything's in place. We see it about to be fulfilled. But as soon as it is fulfilled, then we any day. Right. But that thing, that thing mandatory. What I should say, yeah, Jacob's trouble underway, World War III going hot, Isaiah 4:1 is being fulfilled, the famine of the words here, we looking up any day.
That's right. Con, and I got to get verse 8 in the NLT as well.
Con, go ahead.
It says, nation will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in many parts of the world, as well as famines. But this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come.
Yeah, that's good. See, this is where the NLT, earns its keep, because the NLT is flawed. Well, more flawed than the King James version. Okay, we don't. That's why we don't use it, except in small doses. But
Hmm.
if you can use it in small doses, and it really brings out what the scriptures are saying in modern English. You know, and makes it pop a little bit more. And this is a good example of that. But then in other places it falls flat, or it's just flat out wrong. It's just that's just not correct. That's not what the scriptures are saying.
Hmm.
I've seen that a couple of times. That's why we don't use it predominantly. But in
Right.
case in small doses, it can really bring the edification out. Yeah, but this will be but this will be, what does it say? The first, but this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. More and much more intense. Birth
That's,
pains get more and more intense the closer you get to the birth,
that's right.
right? So yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yep. So
And
yeah, we
the
can go. Mhm.
and the end is the end of the world is likened unto birth pains, man. Like the brother was saying, the closer we get to the end of this wicked society, the more those birth pains are going to grow. The more those birth pains are going to intensify and get worse and worse. And
Right.
that's what we're seeing today. The end, as we get closer and closer, things are continuing to intensify in the world with
Right.
these plagues are intensifying. The famine is intensifying. So I just got this real quick in second Ezra
Right.
16 and verse 37 says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." So when that child, once that
Yeah.
water breaks, man, the closer that the more that child is trying to get out of that womb, the more those birth pains are going to build up. And then as that child is coming, the birth pains aren't going to slack. Like it says, it's not going to slack, not a moment. And then what? And then when the child comes forth, and then that's when Yahweh Shai comes back. And when that child comes forth, then everything, then that the woman that was in those birth pains, then she just feels relieved. And that's what's going to happen. Yahweh Shai is going to come, and then everything is just going to be at rest. Everything is not as soon, but following, after so on and so forth. But at the same time, it's going to be a relief when we see Yahweh Shai, crack those clouds, man. So verse 39 says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." And that's what we're seeing, man. These plagues are coming upon the world and intensifying, and they're coming upon it from the north, the east, the south, and the west, man. They're coming from every side, and they
Every
taking
yeah.
hold of this world. Hmm.
Everything that can go wrong is going wrong, and that's the reason why
Right.
I never, it's always something.
That's right.
And you gotta modify that. Now you gotta say it's always some things. You better put an S on that. It's always
That is
multiple things going on at one time. And that's a great analogy by comparing it to birth pains, because that's what Yahweh Shai Masha was talking about. He was saying, look, when you got a woman who's about to give birth to birth to a baby, and she's gone through this process of 9 to 10 months of labor, I mean not labor, of carrying the baby and all that, it's the end when those birth pains start. Not the pre, they call it Braxton Hicks contractions. No, when it's the end, when the real contractions start. Okay.
that's right.
You'll have that water break, the water break. And to me, through the spirit, the water breaking moment was this crown victorious. When that
Mhm.
showed up on the scene at the end of 2019, going into 2020, to me, that's likened unto the water breaking. Okay. But once those real labor pains start, it's the end. That's what Yahweh Shah Mashiach was saying. But the baby doesn't come the first time you have that first somewhat mild contraction, that first real contraction that's somewhat mild, and then the baby pop out. No, you know that, okay, this is it. These contractions, the real contractions have now started. It's going to intensify and it's going to increase. And then
Yep.
eventually, when it's real bad, then the baby will be more. And that's what he's saying. When you see these things happen, you know that the real labor pains have started. The
That's
water
right.
has broke. The real labor pains have started. And so then, when do you know it's the end? You know it's the end when you can see the crown of the baby's head.
Yeah.
When you can look and see the crown of the baby's head, you know it's the end. The head's coming out. That's like what I was describing, before with that thing being pushed. World War III going all the way hot, Jacob's trouble, famine of the word, Isaiah 4:1. You can see the crown of the baby's head. You know that this is the end. When you see that baby's head, you can see the crown of the head, and then the head's coming out. This is the end. The baby's being born right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, go ahead, bro. Let's get to the article.
Yeah, the woman ain't gonna have birth pains for years. Like, and then if she having pains for years, she's gonna be like, man, just let me die. I give up the ghost. Those birth pains, they're not gonna last for too long. They last for what, 6? I don't know how long, 6-7 hours.
Yeah, it can vary. It can vary. It could be very. It could be a few hours. Some with all the hormones being messed up in women today, it could last in some cases. Some cases, with all the hormones and all the poisons in the air, water, and food, woman will start her birth pains and then they'll stop, and then they'll start again. And they'll stop. But usually it'll last. Some women is shorter, some women is longer, but a few hours up to like even like 12, 18 hours or something like that. But yeah, that's on the longer side.
It ain't gonna take 3-4 days for even 2 days.
Nah.
It happens,
and that's
quick.
why he was right, and that's what he was, relatively quick, But that's what he was saying. He was saying, look, you in that time when this is it, but as soon as you get that first labor pain, the baby don't pop out. It's a process still. So you got to have a series of labor pains, and they have to get more and more intense, and they have to get shorter and closer together. Not shorter in duration, but shorter the time interval between. At first, the time interval between is kind of long, and then they get shorter and shorter and shorter, and they come in quicker and quicker and quicker, and they get more and more intense, and then eventually the baby's born. And that's that's the Jacob's trouble and the thing, and the famine of the word and all of that. World War III going hot. So, but one of those things is this famine, which is what we're going to get into. Go ahead.
Con, so this is from foxbusiness.com, published 20 hours ago. It says India, second largest wheat producer. Who is the largest wheat producer? I believe it's Russia.
I believe you're right, bro.
Russia, and then and I believe Ukraine also supplies a good bit of wheat as well.
Russia and Ukraine together supply like just shy of pretty much 30% of the world's wheat, the whole world's wheat.
So it says India, the second largest wheat producer.
Oh, we should say used to. We should say used to, because that ain't happening right now. Go ahead.
It says India, second largest wheat producer, bans exports amid food supply concerns. And when it says exports, that means they're pushing the stuff that they sell out.
They're suppliers. Yeah.
Right. And they ban. Okay, we're not going to supply no more wheat to the world. They said we keeping our wheat.
Yeah.
But it says global wheat prices have increased by more than 40% since the beginning of the year.
Hyperinflation.
It says India, the second largest producer of wheat, has banned exports of the commodity due to the risk of its food security. So they like, hey man, we worried about our own well-being. We're not worried about supplying, wheat to y'all when we barely have enough for ourselves. So we just want to be all together.
Yeah, they like, hey, when we got that philosophy, like they tell you when you on a plane and there's a loss of cabin pressure, You know, put the mask on yourself first before you try to help somebody
Yep.
else. They're
Right.
like, look, we got to take care of our own food supply first.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right.
hmm It says a Friday notice. Let me see if I can increase, bring it closer, in case anybody else want to read. So it says a Friday notice in the government Gazette signed by the Director General of Foreign Trade said that a sudden spike in the global prices of wheat was putting India, neighboring, and other vulnerable countries at risk. It says the export of wheat will be allowed in case of shipments where an uh, ir- irrevocable letter of credit had been issued on or before the date of the notice and on the basis of permission granted by the government of India to other countries to meet their food security needs and based on the request of the government. So they're saying basically they got to have a letter of credit and or they got to get permission from the government of India before they export wheat from their country. It says the export policy of wheat against the above mentioned HS codes is prohibited with immediate effect except for shipments fulfilling the conditions mentioned in paragraph 2 above, which will be allowed as per the procedure outlined in part of the foreign trade policy. So it says, the export is prohibited with immediate. So it's prohibited from exporting wheat unless the conditions that we just meet, are met in the paragraph we just read.
Yeah, but you see, the another thing to key in on is that it's effective immediately. No, no, okay, well, we're gonna be doing this, and it's gonna be in 3 months, 3 to 6 months time, depending on. No, now, right now,
Right.
immediate.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because a lot of times when countries and so on and so forth, or government organizations gonna do something, man, they don't move fast like that. They
That's
they
right.
they tell you, well, at the end of this year, in the next 6 months, immediate,
Yeah.
motherfucker. This is
That's
our week. We keeping it. We
can we
hungry,
yeah, can we finish the business we was making with other no.
right? No, immediate. See,
Immediate.
that's showing you the urgency of the situation.
Right.
Go ahead.
It says even though it is the world's second largest producer of wheat, India consumes most of the wheat it produces because with Russia and Ukraine producing 30% and they not exporting the wheat, what the other countries are going to look at India and be like, hey, y'all the second largest producer of wheat, so why don't y'all share a little bit more of y'all wheat? And India's like, man, we may be the second largest producer of wheat, but we eat most of our wheat because the other countries they're gonna start looking at India and be like, "Hey man, y'all got a lot of wheat over there. Y'all trying to share some?" And then India's like, "Nah, man, we eat our wheat."
Hmm.
But it says the nation has said, I think it said, I think that's about it.
And India is not the only country that's banned wheat exports.
All right.
Okay, there's others too. So we know. Let's just go with India, Ukraine, and Russia. And we already established that Russia is about supplying about just shy of 30%, like 27 to 28%. Let's go with the 27%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, more than a quarter of the world's wheat. That's a huge chunk of the world's wheat.
Yep.
Bro, look up real quick what percentage of the world's wheat is supplied by India? Because they're the second. So what percentage do they supply? Because we want to see how what percentage of the world's wheat supply has just got rocked. Okay, because it's already at 27%.
Yep. It says about 10%.
We empower
About
those who
10%. That sounds even a little low. But let's go with that. So that's 37%, more than a third of the world's wheat supply. And depending on what numbers you go with, it could be 40%, right?
Right.
Because I've heard up to from 27 to 30% between Russia and Ukraine. So 37 to 40% of the world's wheat, not getting shipped out.
That's right.
right now. And
Mm.
India, they still supposedly, I know that India is getting some, I don't know if they're getting wildfires and droughts. Their crops are probably, they probably have some issues with their crops because the Most High is visiting the world with plagues right now. I can't, bring up any articles right now or say that for sure, but most likely they are. I heard that something's going over there in India. I just don't remember what it is. But I know
Right.
that Ukraine, they're not necessarily even going to be able to produce their normal amount of wheat right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, about 40% of the wheat that normally gets supplied around the world is not getting supplied.
That's right.
All right.
And I think they could supply more, but like I said, they consume most of their
Right, because
wheat.
they got a very large population over there.
Right.
I think I want to say it's like 1 billion people or something like that. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
they got
people over there.
1.3 billion, and China has 1.4 billion.
Right.
So it's a
So,
lot of people.
but if they're able to supply 30% of the world's wheat, then that must mean they grow a lot of wheat over there because they feed their population with the wheat, and then there's enough left over to supply 10% of the
Right.
world's total that's
Yep.
supplied. So they grow a lot of wheat over there. But look, there are a lot of the Most High is visiting the world with plagues. There's droughts, there's wildfires, there's locusts, there's all kinds of ways that the Most High is visiting the world which He made right now. And they looking at the writing on the wall, and they like, there's droughts in various places, there's wildfires, there's flooding. How could I forget that? Because the Most High is like that. He'll hit you with some droughts. They hit you with flooding.
Mhm.
You'll be like, oh damn, if we could just stop and get rid of this flooding, and then it'll dry everything up, and you'll be a dust bowl. And you'll be like, damn, if we could just get a drop of water, then he flood your ass. And that's what the Most High's been doing.
That's right.
He been hitting places with droughts, heat waves, and then flood them,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And they looking at all that. They see that. They see they see the wildfires too around the world, various locations. They see the locusts, they see all these things, and then the wars, and they're like, look, you know what? We better keep our wheat, you know.
Yep.
And that's the decision they made, man. And it is tying in and further intensifying the famine. You read about famines in the scriptures. It'll say there was a famine. There was a famine in such and such place, and the famine was very sore. The famine was for the famine was very grievous in the land, right? Because you got degrees of famine, man. And right now the famine is here, but it's not sore and grievous yet. But it's growing more sore and more grievous by the day,
That's right.
and that is where it's going. And it's
Hmm.
coming here to America. That famine is going to lick the shit out of a Babylon the Great. It could come but lay a big old wet old sloppy ass kiss on Babylon the Great, which is America.
Yep.
You know, one of those creepy ass kisses, like from one of your aunties or something. Want to come and give you big. Yeah, I'm like,
Nah,
drooling and dripping.
with that when that girl was kissing that dog.
Ew. Oh my goodness, disgusting, man. She
One of
didn't
those.
even kiss the dog. She ew. She didn't kiss the dog. It was worse than that. Anyway, go ahead. It was worse than that. Much worse.
Yeah.
Edomite.
I was Edomite, yeah. I was reading it said India is the second largest producer of wheat in the world, but this year production has been less than usual.
They say why?
Yeah, it says unprecedented heat waves across the
Oh,
northwest.
as I told you, man.
Yep.
Bro, let's touch on that real quick. I mean, if all we get into is the famine, then that's all we get into because we're 40 minutes in and we still
Yeah.
got another article and more precepts. So, it's all through the spirit. But let's touch on that. Let me see here. Is it Second Ezra's? I think it's Second Ezra's 15. Second Ezra's 15 at the top. Yeah. Let me if you could get that real quick, bro. I'm turning to it, so I'll tell you what verses I want.
Con.
Wait a minute. 2nd Ezra 15. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Woo. We're gonna just get. I don't think we're gonna get out the famine today, bro. All right.
'Cause there's a little bit more I wanted to bring out in that.
In that article.
Yeah.
Okay. Bring that out. What's the last thing you just said? You just said something about India getting the heat waves, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and bring out the rest of what you're gonna bring out in that, and then we're gonna get into the 2nd Ezra 15. I'm gonna get the passage together.
Con. So it says unprecedented heat waves. Man, this ad's like it says, so just ignore the ad. It says unprecedented heat waves across the north, west, and central parts of the country have caused substantial loss to the yield this year.
Heat waves, baby.
Yep. Some estimates say nearly 80% of the crop purchased by the government has shriveled up. And that's not, it's no telling as you know as it gets hotter, man. Because we only in May. It says I don't know how hot it gets over there though. It says the early summer in states like Punjab, Haryana, and Utah has also affected crop yield. So they call it what the heat waves now is just the early summer. They're not even in the heat of the summer yet. No pun intended.
Because the Most High is plaguing the shit out of the world, man.
Right. Yep.
That's why. And we're going to read it to you in the scriptures.
Yep.
Once the brother's done with this article. Go ahead.
And there's one more thing I wanted to add. So this article, about the banning the wheat exports, that came out 1 day ago. And then 3 days ago, an article came out. And this is the article from 3 days ago before the one that just came out. It says
That's just messed up. Go ahead.
that's why I was laughing earlier. I'm like, man, this is crazy. It says India to ramp up wheat exports.
Yay! Go ahead.
It says India to ramp up wheat exports amid global shortage. It says,
psych up, boy. Psych up. Psych.
That's right. It says, as the war disrupts wheat supplies and drives up food prices, India is stepping up to fill the gap in the global market. India was like, yeah, we're out.
On second thought.
Yeah.
Nah, that's all right. We'll pass.
That's right.
Oh, man. Yeah, get verses 8 through 16, Baba Kusha. 2nd Ezra 15.
Can I start at verse 5 because it says it goes into the family.
Oh yeah. Verse 5 works. Yeah, down to 18, Baba Kusha. I mean, we can read the whole chapter, all right, but
You said and we're going to verse 18. Okay,
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
We
can start at the top. Start at the top. Start at the top. Go to 18.
2nd Ezra 15 verse 1. It says, "Speak."
Listen up, scoffers. Listen up, all you unbelievers. Yep. Listen up, all who mock and don't want to believe. This is your warning. This is your opportunity. If you have ears to hear, go ahead.
It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people."
Right. So that's a commandment given to us. We're going to do it. All right. Because we don't want the Most High. I don't want the Most High fucking me up.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm going to do it. Okay. I don't give a damn. We're gonna do what Yahweh Shema Shah has commanded us to do because we don't want to be in his crosshairs.
Exactly. It says, "Speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." And that's what we're doing.
You got it, bro. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's what we're doing, man. We're speaking prophecy to you, man. That's what we're doing right now. We're bringing out prophecy that is in the news. We're bringing out the news articles, and then we're linking it up with prophecy that is in the scriptures that are signs that are to come upon this world. And the Lord Yahweh Shemshai is putting it in us through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemshai. He's putting it in us to speak these and to know to be able to discern that, okay, this links up with this. Okay, this is happening because of this, and so on and so forth. Continuing on, verse 2 says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Verse 3, it says, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So yeah, man, don't worry about what everybody else is. If they scoffing at you, if they coming up against you, they trying to mock you and do all this and that. They trying to fight you because of this truth and so on and so forth. Because what? Because they're gonna die because of their unfaithfulness. It said, don't fear none of that, man, because they're gonna die. Just focus on what you got to focus on. Focus on this truth, because this truth is what's gonna save you, not whatever they got going on. Let them do what they're gonna do, because they're gonna die. You just stay focused and stay on that right path. Speaking to myself first and foremost. It says, verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. And the plagues, it don't just mean, the black plague. The plagues is different meanings. And it tells you what type of plagues is the Lord is going to bring upon the world.
Yeah, just some examples, man.
Yeah, exactly. Just some examples. Because there's many more plagues that are mentioned that aren't right here.
Yeah, all the plagues.
That's right. Go ahead. Right. It says, behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Yeah, and you got different varieties of each of those categories. Those are categories. I mean, you got the famine, right? But that famine can come in a lot of different ways from all kinds of different angles, and it is. Okay,
that's
but
right.
You got all manners of ways to die. You got a whole variety of different ways to die, a whole variety of ways that you can encounter death.
That's
okay,
right.
And destruction, same thing. A whole variety of different ways you can be destroyed.
Yep.
A whole variety of weaponry for you to die by the sword.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
What do they call it? That little that when you're in math, and then they got that little tree that branches out, like the little if you do 28 and then it branches off to show you I forget what it's called. So you got the plague, then you got this way you can die from the sword, then you got this way you can die from the sword, then that one breaks off, and there's brother was saying,
I'm not sure what you get. You said it's in math.
Yeah, it's like it's like it breaks off, and then
you're talking about a flow chart.
I believe so.
Yeah, but it sounds like a flow chart, or not necessarily a flow chart, but anyway, the point is well taken. The point is made.
Yeah. So it says the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Why, Lord? Why are you going to bring all these plagues upon the world? Verse 6, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
Fulfilled, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. This is the only, you filled up all the allotment of space I gave you to perform wickedness. Now the wickedness has gotten out of bounds.
That's right.
Okay. And wickedness out of bounds is being judged. It's time to judge that wickedness.
That's right.
Okay. It's not allotted for you to be able to go past that point with your wickedness. So
That's
now
right.
it's time to get judged.
Mm-hmm. It says, therefore, said the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Verse 9. And therefore, said the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them.
Yeah.
Behold,
and Salakia, bro, I had my precepts. You actually started at the precept that I wanted, which is verse 5. And I
Okay.
was waiting until verse 8, so I missed my cue.
I'll
But
get it.
yeah, go ahead and get that 5 again, then we'll jump back down to where we at right now.
Second Ezra 15 and 5. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Yeah. And that's what India, they was like, you know what, this is we have a good opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like we have a good opportunity to, help the world and and
Right.
have everybody think great of us. We get to improve our reputation.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
it's like, well, we do have a lot of people to feed, and we are getting these droughts,
Yep.
and anything else could happen at any time. And they was like, well, maybe we ought to just keep our wheat kids,
Yep.
because see, like it says in that verse 5, Yahweh Shema Shai is bringing plagues upon the world. And like the brother was bringing out, that word plagues is general. It's a general term, and there's a whole variety. There's all variety and all manner and all types and kinds of plagues that the Heavenly Father is pouring out on this earth and on the heathen. And
Yep.
exactly for the reason that's in verse 6, because wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and that includes India. India is in bed with the beast. India is in bed with the wicked. Okay, they are allies of NATO and the EU. Okay,
Yep.
they are allies of America, and they are part of the list of enemies, which all the heathen are, in Psalms 83, in Psalms
Yep.
chapter 2,
Yep.
right? So they're part of the wickedness. They have partaken in and participated in the wickedness, which now has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Okay, it's and their hurtful works are fulfilled. The wickedness is to the max, and so the Most High is pouring out and visiting this world and plaguing the world, and that includes India, and they're getting plagued with what is it, heat waves?
Yep.
You
Heat
know,
waves.
yeah, right now currently that's what they're getting plagued with. But expect that heat wave to be, getting joined with some of its friends, which is all other manner of plagues. Okay, whether it be plagues that lead to famine, pestilence, death, destruction, the sword, or whatever else. Natural disasters, which, like I said, you can get death and destruction in all manner and variety of ways.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
So they're getting visited. This whole world is getting visited right now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the beginning, man. Like it said in the NOT and in Mark chapter 13, verse 7, I think it was, this is the first of the labor pains with many more to come. And
That's
as
right.
you know, labor pains don't get weaker and softer as you go on in time. They get stronger and more intense, unbearable, you know, damn near unbearable, pretty much
Yep.
unbearable. And they get closer and closer together.
Yep.
So India is getting plagued, and they're like, well, we see all these things happening in all the other nations. We're dealing with this, you know, we're gonna keep our wheat. But you know what? It ain't gonna save them. It
Nope.
ain't gonna save them. Okay. Okay, they're gonna get that famine. They're gonna get these other plagues and pestilences and all these other things, the death and destruction and the sword as well.
Yep.
All right, and heavy for sure, because they got a big population. Number one, and number two, even more importantly than their big population, but number two, they're in bed with the beast,
That's right.
so they're gonna get it,
Mm-hmm.
And then once they get it, they're gonna get it even worse when Yahweh Shah Mashiach shows up, because he's gonna visit those Elamites.
That's right.
He's gonna visit them, fill their places with their dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead out.
So jumping back down to verse 8 again, it says, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Verse 9. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people.
Yahweh Shema Shai is avenging us, man.
That's right.
All right, he's going to avenge us, man. He's here. He's going to bring punishment. The number one reason why you heathen are getting punished is because of the controversy of Zion. What you did to the apple of his eye, what you did to his chosen people. Okay, the nation of Israel,
Right.
which are the so-called blacks, or so-called African Americans, so-called Negroes, and the so-called Latinos and Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans and Seminole Indians. And it's for the controversy of Zion that the Heavenly Father is going to visit you. That's the chief reason, because he was just a little displeased with you at first. Just like, yeah, this heathen over there, I don't, get on my nerves, but what can you say? They're just heathen.
Right.
I just made them to be slaves in service anyway, and they don't have their masters over them, so,
Yep.
But then, so the Heavenly Father that's what the scriptures say, he was but a little displeased with you.
Yep.
But then you helped further the affliction. You forwarded the affliction. You put your hands on the apple of his eye, and you didn't know that he who touches us, he who touches the Israelites touches the apple of Yahweh Shem El Shai's eye. You didn't take that in consideration.
That's right.
And now he's very, very angry. He's very sore displeased with you, heathen.
That's right.
For the controversy of Zion.
Second Ezra 15 and verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt.
Right. That's getting into Jacob's trouble, which is another one of the last prophecies that are going to be fulfilled very, very, very soon, which is Jacob's trouble. All right. And it's going to be performed and completed and fulfilled here in America, Babylon the Great. All right. Because Revelation 11 and 8 tells you that that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, which is America, Babylon the Great. It is also spiritually referred to as Egypt. It's not talking about ancient Egypt. Not talking about modern day literal Egypt. Okay. All right. Modern day literal Egypt's not even a big player. It's a hill. It's not even a mountain. It's a hill. All right. And so the Heavenly Father is not going to suffer us to stay here and be slaughtered. Specifically he's talking about his elect. Okay, the rest of the nation of Israel, well, yeah, that's their judgment. He's going to leave them here. They're going to get slaughtered. They're going to get put to death. They're going to be killed in mass. 2/3 are going to die. Let me get that real quick, and then we're going to continue on. This is Zechariah chapter 13, verses like 7 and 8, or 8 and 9. I'll tell you when I get there. Well, we could get 7. We're going to get 8 and 9. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, referring to the land of America, Babylon the Great, okay, that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. But the third, not a third, the third, telling you that there's only a total of 3, so it's a 2/3 and a 1/3, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part, which is the 144,000, as well as the 1/3, okay, which the 144,000 is part of the 1/3, but you do have members of the 144,000 which are in other parts of the world, okay, but the majority of the 144,000 is here. And even have some of the 144,000 which are in the spiritual realm. So it's going to be close to 144,000 throughout the world. Majority of that number being here in America, Babylon the Great, but it's not going to be a complete and total full 144,000, because some of those are in the spiritual realm, but most are here on the earth, and of those that are here on the earth, most are here in America, Babylon the Great.
Right.
And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, because we're going to know his name. Matter of fact, we've been sealed with the names of the Heavenly Father and the names of his Son, and our forehead, which when you dig into that word in the Greek, is talking about our minds, our spirit, our labia, our minds. right? Okay, it's a spiritual seal, right? So that's how we can call on the name, because we know the names. Matter of fact, we're sealed with the names pursuant to the book of Revelation. Okay.
Yep.
And I will hear them. I will say, because it's possible to call on the Heavenly Father and he still don't hear you. And if you ain't even got his name, then you just SOL, you can't even call on him. But it's possible to have his name and call on him and he ain't going to hear you. But he says here, they shall call on my name and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is my power. But that 2/3 is going to be cut off and die. So 2/3 of all the so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians here in America, Babylon the Great, as well as 2/3 of the Israelites that look like the other nations here in America, Babylon the Great, but their bloodline through their fathers goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Even though they're looking like an Edomite, even though they're looking like an Elamite, they're looking like an Ishmaelite, they're looking like an Ammonite or a Moabite or any of the other ites, a Hamite or a Japhite. But their bloodline through their father goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're Israelites. Well, 2/3 of those are going to be cut off and die here in America, Babylon the Great, and a lot of them are going to die in Jacob's trouble, and then what remains is going to get burned in the lake of fire.
Yep. So continuing on, 2 Ezra 15 and verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before.
Right. Go ahead.
And will destroy all the land thereof.
All the land thereof, man. Because see, the Heavenly Father is smiting the world with plagues, but then America, Babylon the Great gets its own special mention. I mean, because America, Babylon the Great is in the world. You don't need to say that. All you need to say is that you're spiting the world with plagues. Well, that includes America. But no, America gets its own special mention. Okay.
Yep.
And not only is it going to get smitten with plagues, it's also going to what's it say? How did it
it said
and we'll destroy all the land thereof. There it is. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. He's gonna not only going to smite America, Babylon the Great with plagues, but he's going to destroy all the land thereof.
That's right. Verse 12, it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment.
This is all talking about America, Babylon the Great. Okay. Okay, it's going to mourn, and this is underway. This is in process right now, and it's just going to get more and more intense. All hell, as bad as things are right now, you ain't seen nothing. This is just getting started. All hell is going to break loose.
That's right.
And all the world, and no place is it going to be worse than here in America, Babylon the Great.
That's right. Yeah, the party's only getting started, man. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it.
Go ahead.
And the Most High is bringing these, like we've been getting into, the Most High is bringing these plagues and these punishments, and it's only going to intensify and further grow on this world because of the wickedness upon this world, because of the wickedness as well as the controversy against Zion, as the brother stated. So it says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Verse 14.
Yeah, read that again, bro. That 13 again.
Yep. 2 Ezra 15 and 13. They that till the ground shall mourn.
Famine. Famine. India is like, well, I know we just put the article out like 3 days ago that we're going to, come to the rescue for the world, and we're going to ramp up our wheat production, but we are battling some serious heat waves,
Right.
and it's, and it can get a lot worse. And then, there's a whole lot of other things going on in the world too. And see, so India is not saving themselves by, they're not. Okay. Hey, you can't escape or get away from the plagues of Yahweh Shem Shai. I mean, if we wanted to, we can go get that, We could go get that in Second Ezra chapter 16 from the top.
Yep.
But you know,
Yep.
we got another article we want to get into, so but you can read that. Okay. The plagues are not slack. As an arrow shot from a mighty archer.
Yep.
Those are the plagues. And so not return to Yahweh Shem Shah until they accomplish what he sent them out to do. So India can't get away from the famine, man. But that's what they try to do, you know.
Yep.
And I can't knock them. That's what they should. I mean, you should try to do. You know, try to do it. You know, it ain't gonna help. Ain't gonna make a difference. Go ahead.
Nope. It says, "For their seeds shall fail through the blasting in hell, and with a fearful consolation." Verse 14.
Yeah. Crop failures, man.
Yep.
Crop failures, and not just India. Okay. All right, it's gonna be visiting all these heathen nations, man.
That's right.
And it's already all up in America, Babylon the Great, and it has been for a number of years. Okay,
Yep.
Droughts, heat waves, floods. You know, yeah, droughts, heat waves, and floods, man, and wildfires.
Yep.
Fucking up the crops here in America, Babylon the Great, for years now, and getting worse every year.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Woe to the world. Great suffering, great misery, great death, and destruction.
That's right.
Right? Woe to this whole world. Go ahead.
For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people
draws nigh. Okay, it ain't far off. It ain't going to happen in our lifetime. Yeah, I think I kind of see what you're saying. I believe that, you know, it is in the scriptures, but I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime.
That's right. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Meaning whatever they got the power to do, might makes right. Whatever they got the power to do, that's what they're going to do.
That's right.
You know, for there shall be sedition among men. I forget which nation it was, but there's one of those nations there's been multiple nations that have had food riots over food, either rising prices or shortages and lackage of food, right? And one of them, there was an article that just came out, and some brothers did lessons on it, just didn't have the time to check it out because just don't have the time to watch everything, do everything. But one of them, the authorities over there just opened up fire, live rounds on the protesters, and was just laying them down. If I remember correctly, because I saw the headline. But even if it was rubber bullets, still. But if I remember correctly, they just opened up live fire on the crowd for stealing the food. You know, they were stealing some food or protesting or something, and the authorities over there was just like open up on them, and they was laying them down. See, the scriptures are true, man.
That's
all right. And how many more things like that are not getting reported? And it's already being reported of serious heavy protests and uproars in multiple nations because of food. Not to mention the serious uproars and protests because of the many other issues, the many other plagues that are coming upon the world right now. Okay. That's just because of the foods. And then you got to add the protests and the uproars and the seditions for all these other things, each of them having its own uproars and seditions and protests. See, the scriptures are true.
Second Ezra 15 and 17. And man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed. And
check out Shanghai over there. You know, assuming that they not, you know, finagling with things. Shanghai is a ghost town, man. The people over there are not getting, you know, the Moabites over there are not able to go out and get their groceries. You know, there's they're not getting enough to eat. There's all kinds of issues over there, man. And this whole world has had a taste of that, and it's getting ready to come back worse because that was the first time this whole world got a taste of that. That was just a live exercise. It wasn't the real thing, baby.
That's right.
Go ahead.
So it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And I got
And men shall be afraid. Go ahead.
and one more verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor,
Mm.
but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Why? Why are they going to do all this?
Why would my good neighbor, like a good neighbor,
Yeah.
why would my good neighbor do this? Why? Go
Because,
ahead.
because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So
Don't you see?
that's why they're
Don't.
going to be doing this, man. Because
Yep.
there's going to be a famine. It's going to be a major famine. There's going to be lack of bread, and they're going to be like, "Damn, I got to eat. I got to feed my little child." Well, they look like they've been doing good over there. They look like they've been stockpiling food. Let's go and
Yeah,
take
yeah.
food.
Matter of fact, I know. I saw his Facebook post. I saw his Instagram. I know he was one of those saying, look, this is what we did, and we encourage you to do it. Well, I didn't do it, but I know you got it now.
Right. That's right. And that's what's coming up on this world, man. Great. What does it say in Matthew 24? It goes into the love of many shall wax
Wax
cold.
cold. Yeah. Yeah. The love of many shall wax cold. Yep.
Yeah, they're not going to care none about who you are, what you're doing, how much they gonna take it because they hungry. People will people's minds change when they're hungry. Once they start to get hungry, like that little Snickers commercial, I believe it is. You're not you when you're hungry.
Right.
These people, they're not going to be them. They're going to be in a totally different mindset. And all that's going to be running through their mind is, I need food. What is the best way in the predicament that we're in at this moment? What is the best way we can get food? And it's going to be what? Destroying their houses with the destroying their neighbors' houses with the sword and spoiling their goods.
Mm-hmm.
Seditions, going up and not regarding what Joe Biden said, not regarding what the government said, but just going into Walmart, going into your nearest food market and stealing the food.
Right.
That's what's coming, man.
The course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Right. And it's not going to be it's not just going to be on a low level, man. It's going to be on the highest level it can be. It's going to be major.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it on that
Let's
one.
let's get the second article, and then we'll try to step it up. Try to get
Going
it done. Yeah, let's get the second article, and then get the last couple precepts we got.
okay. So this is from War
Uh,
News
wait,
20.
wait, wait. We had a second one going into the famine, right? The
No.
one for Germany. You only had one?
Yeah, I only
Oh,
have.
I had meant for you to get the one where Germany had said. Just search for it real
I can
quick.
look it
Germany warns of famine or food
up. Okay,
crisis or whatever.
I'll look it up. Uh, this is from aa.com.tr, published 2 days ago. It says Germany, France warns of global food crisis due to Russia's war on Ukraine. It
Well, that's
says
just what they're blaming it on, and that is a factor, but that ain't the end all be all to it. Go ahead.
right. It says Rhea says a global food crisis is on the horizon due to Russia's war in Ukraine. Germany's foreign ministry warned on Friday in her opening speech at the G7 foreign ministers. How many times are these people? How many times do these people? Me, I feel like they've already met so many times this year. Man, it says
The closer you are to crowning your enterprise a success,
right,
it requires closer, more diligent supervision the closer you get to the end
right, yeah.
of
'Cause
of, of your plan.
yeah, a couple years ago, I thought they only met like once or twice a year. I feel like that's all I hear now. G7 speaks. G7 war. They come together and speak. Yeah, but it says, but like you said, yeah, that's right. The closer you get, the more they're gonna meet. It says Russia is not allowing millions of tons of grain to be exported. This is a big, big danger. And we can only see the tip of the iceberg at the moment. We all know that if the climate crisis hits in the summer around the world, the situation will get even worse. Now they're saying climate crisis, which that they could falsify that and bring something like that on the table. So it says, Baerbock said the G7 of leading industrial nations has agreed to take up their responsibility and act fast to address this upcoming crisis. And it sounds like this is also, because this was, I believe, 3 days ago, and it sounds like this is when India said that yeah, we'll take up the brunt of the load and help. Now look at him. So it says her French counterpart Jean also echoed concerns on the long-term consequences of the war, particularly in the field of food security, and urged that conversations at the international level must focus on the hike in food prices. He was confident that the G7 will reach agreements on joint initiatives among the various actors to help avoid the consequences on the food supply of the Ukraine crisis. It is Russia which is causing the food crisis, and we must try and curb the adverse effects. So that was about it. They saying, hey, man, it's all Russia. Anything that happens, I sound like Paul now. Anything that happens is Russia, folks.
Right. Well, yeah. The point that we taken away,
that's right,
is that Germany and apparently France as well are warning that a global food crisis, global, worldwide food crisis is looming. It's impending.
That's right.
It's here.
Yep.
Okay. But they're telling you that. All right. And how many times do these people have to tell you that famine is coming?
Yep.
Okay. And even it started with the United Nations saying that. Now it don't matter what the fuck they say. Only thing that matters is what the scriptures say. But it started with the United Nations saying, like a couple of years ago was the first time I heard the United Nations say this, was like a famine of biblical proportions is on the horizon. And then they came out with that warning like 2 to 3 times. And then, fast forward a little bit, and then, fast forward a little bit, goodness gracious, your family you never heard from in like months, and now they want to, send me this barrage of text messages, breaking my train of thought. And then what is sleepy, creepy Joe Biden come out and say? He comes out and says, the fruit, we talked about food crisis, and it's real. It's going to be real, So now you got your president telling you that it's famine is coming, and then now you got, France and Germany, two of the heavy hitters over there, part of the beast, part of the 10 horns, and they're telling you that famine is coming, And why are they saying it? Because, well, that's their plan. It is coming. It's biblical, and it's their plan. That's right. Nothing brings people to their knees like a famine, man.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, because this world plans to, a lot of people. I don't say this world, but a lot of people plan to resist the Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? Which is, that's the Nancy Whisker Oscar, Nancy Whiskey Oscar, right? They plan, but if you ain't got food, then that takes all the fight out of you.
Yeah.
See, so it's their plan. And plus, they want to reduce the world population. The Georgia Guidestones, they tell you that. You ain't even got to go to the Georgia Guidestones. Just pay attention to the quotes that come out of these G7 meetings. They tell you, we want to reduce the population. They want to raise the population. They want to increase the population. We want to reduce it.
And then laugh at it.
Yeah, and then laugh about it. Yeah. Well, I if you want to reduce the world population, then by all means, off yourself.
Right.
Okay, that's what I got to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, they're telling you that, man, because it is their plan. They are creating this. They are manufacturing. They are pushing this shortage of food, this famine, and that's their job. The Most High has created the wicked for the day of evil. That's Proverbs 16:4. They are the goddamn devil. They're the ones who are as death. Habakkuk 2:5. So this is what their job is to do this. Somebody's got to do it,
Yep.
and they're the ones that fit the bill.
That's right.
They are equipped. They got the character and all that, the nature to do this, and they're the ones that the Most High has created to do it.
That's
So
right.
that's why they're coming out, because now they're at the point of the plan where it's here. So they want to get out ahead of the narrative. They ain't just going to let it happen and they don't acknowledge it and nothing. No, they know that that time. They're springing that right now. So they get out and they admit it. That way people say, oh, they told us it's going to happen. Oh, well, what should we do? Since you knew it was coming, you must know what to do about it. So what should we do? And they're going to say, well, we know exactly what to do. We got to have this global reset. We're going to have this new system with the digital currencies. And, you take that right there, or you can get the one that goes back here or back there. And, everything's going to be all good, because that's the
Exactly.
end game. That's the end goal,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
perpetual, slavery for these
Mm-hmm.
heathen nations, which is Esau, Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white man, generally speaking, trying to get his blessing back that he lost in Genesis chapter 27.
That's right.
Okay. But the blessing was never his anyway. It was his on paper. Technically speaking, briefly, it was his, but it never was his, because the Heavenly Father had already determined from the beginning that it was going to go to Jacob. But this is what he's been doing. He's been trying to get his blessing back, and that's what this is all about. And he seals the deal when he puts that, there or here or there,
Mm-hmm.
or over in Europe, they get it over here, you know.
Yep.
So, but if you get it anywhere, it doesn't matter where you get it. The scripture just mentions the places that it's going to be received primarily, predominantly.
Yep.
But if you get it in your, like some people try to be funny, you get it in your butt cheek, you got it, and you're going to be destroyed.
That's
Okay.
right.
You get it in your belly button, you got it, you're going to be destroyed.
Yep.
If you get it in your body, you're going to be destroyed.
That's right.
See,
No ifs,
that's
ands,
what,
buts about it.
right. And that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. It is about bringing the world to its knees. This is about the hour of temptation, Revelation 3:10.
Yep.
Okay. Let me get that real quick, bro. And if we're done with this, let's go ahead and get the precepts and we can get ready to wrap this up, since it's already pushing an hour and a half.
Con, I was just gonna say, Anna Lena, she said that 25 million tons of grain that the world urgently needs were stuck in ports being blockaded by Russia. So
Right.
this famine is here, man. And
Well, they're blaming that on Russia.
yeah, they blame it
But
on Russia.
that doesn't sound like Russia to me. Russia has been showing that they will let things happen for humanitarian reasons. But the goddamn devil can say, well, we can just blame that on Russia, so don't let that shit go through, and we'll just say it was because of Russia.
Yeah,
That sounds like the truth. That sounds like what's going on to me. But it don't matter.
yeah. They've been, like the brother was saying, they've been telling you that famine is coming. China told its citizens stockpile on food, and now look at them. They on lockdown, and then they said that the world has at most 3 months of food supply. Like if food supply stops now, the world as a whole has 3 months of food left to survive. And at the same time, China has, I believe, a year and a half of food supply if supplies just cease.
They've been stocked.
They've been
China has
stocked.
been hoarding wheat. They've been
Yep.
hoarding wheat. Yep.
I wonder why.
Let me get this. Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, this is Yahweh Shah HaMashiach speaking, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. That's what this is about. Okay, the
Yep.
time when they say, well, listen, all these things, this famine and everything else is going on, these pestilences and everything else is going on. But we got the solution. Get that there, or you can get it back there and get yourself some superpowers. Whatever. And that's going to solve all the world's problems. That's the hour of temptation, right? I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Yeah, because if Yahweh Shai Mashiach doesn't keep you from it, you are going down.
That's
You're
right.
going to go down, and you're going to go down right down to the ground. You're going to go down hard, and you're going to fall and not get up again. Which shall come upon all the world, and that Greek word behind that word world is oikomene, and it means the whole planet. It means everybody that's on it. It's not the Greek word cosmos. That has a totally different meaning. Okay? It's not the Greek word aeon. That has a totally different meaning. This is the Greek word oikomene, which means the whole planet and everybody alive on it. Okay? Which is coming upon the whole world to try, test, tempt them that dwell upon the earth.
That's right.
To try to test them that dwell upon the earth, the whole earth. That's what this is all about. Okay, go ahead.
It's 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
Yeah, man. Don't be surprised, man. When you're like, yeah, it seems like maybe, but I might have to go once or twice, but then it's there the second time, maybe the third time. Yeah, I'm paying a little bit more, but I can still pay it for now, And then you go there, and then all of a sudden, just like that, boom. Yeah. It drops off the cliff, There was this slow, I wouldn't say slow, but there was a gradual, somewhat mild decline where, I think I got this. I think I got, and then it just drops off the cliff.
That's right.
Go ahead, bro.
Ezekiel 14 and verse 12. The word of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it and will break the staff of the brethren.
By trespassing grievously, right? Wouldn't that be like another way of saying exceedingly polluting, the wickedness exceedingly polluting the whole earth? That's like another way to put that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yes.
So if wickedness is exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and that's another way of saying trespassing grievously, then that's kind of like the same thing, just in other words. So he says here, when the land, talking about the people of the land, trespass grievously, okay, he's going to bring famine on the land. But we can take trespass grievously out and replace it with the equivalent of wickedness exceedingly polluting the whole earth, or exceedingly polluting that land, to be specific to this scenario. Then that means that famine's coming.
Yeah.
That means famine's coming. Okay. When wickedness has exceedingly polluted the land, and I send famine through the land. Famine is coming, because it tells you in 2nd Ezra 15. 2nd Ezra 15. I think that was verse 7 or something like that. Whatever verse it was. That wickedness has exceedingly polluted this whole earth, man. So the Heavenly Father is going to bring this famine, and you can read up and you can read down. He's got 4 sword judgments he's going to bring. Okay.
That's right.
And then there are different categories and different types of ways those can be, manifest. Go ahead, Doc.
It says, Then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send famine upon it.
That's what's happening. The staff of the bread. Staff, something you can lean on. Staff, something you can depend on. You're about to fall and bust your ass, meaning you ain't going to have no food. Well, I got this staff right here. Let me lean on this staff of bread.
Right.
We ain't going to fall on and bust our ass. We ain't going to fall in the famine because we got this staff to lean on. Well, how many fathers breaking that staff right now? The staff's pretty much broken.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah, it says, and will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it.
Let's get that 14, and we'll pull up there.
It says, though these 3 men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver by their own souls by their righteousness, said the Lord power.
Yeah, and they represent the elect. Only the elect is going to make it through this time. That's
That's
it.
right.
Everybody else is going down and going down hard,
Yep.
and everybody else is going to die
Yep.
unless, and everybody here over in America, Babylon the Great, except the elect is going to die. But now in the other parts of the world, except for Israel, the land of Israel, everybody over there is going to die too.
That's
Okay,
right.
but every place else in the world, a lot of people are going to die. We don't
Yep.
have an exact percentage, but it's a lot of fill the places with the dead bodies is in the scriptures. Okay,
Yep.
a lot of people are going to die. The only ones that are going to make it are those that have been elected by Yahweh Shemel Shah to be the first crop of slaves in the kingdom,
Yep.
the starter slaves. So they're going to go through all this hell, and they ain't going to be like since the Most High is determined they're going to make it through and be the first crop of slaves. So they're going to be just coasting, just chilling. No, they're going to be catching hell. They're going to be, miserable, suffering, but they're going to make it through. And then when they make it through all that hell, minds probably wrecked because of all the things they've seen and things that even though they survived, shit's still going to be getting done to them, And
Yep.
then they survive and get through all that, minds probably gone, bugged out through, and then here comes the elect descending, the nation of here comes Jerusalem descending down from heaven, 144,000 God kings, and slapping chains on their asses and telling them to get to work and get to burying these dead bodies.
Yep.
See, they're the first crop of slaves. Go ahead. Al.
2 Ezra 16 and verse 17. Woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars.
Great death, man. And you also, soon as you get to the point where you just about starting to wrap your mind around great death, because it takes time, it takes effort. You gotta really put forth an effort to wrap your mind around the great death that the scriptures is talking about. As soon as you just about start to get your mind wrapped around it, where it's just starting to kind of come together, you got to then also consider that this is a gross understatement.
Right.
Because it's written in this weak ass English. And so this is an understatement.
And
so
it's only the beginning of great death.
Hey, yeah, right. The beginning, yeah. Excellent point. It's only just the beginning of great death. See?
Right. Cause they trying to reduce the population, and there's like what 3 billion people in the world.
Nah, pushing 8 billion according to Esau's numbers.
8 billion. Okay, 8 billion. And they trying, and on the Georgia Guidestone it says 500 million people.
Right. Yep.
That's a lot of death.
That's a lot of death.
That
Most High might just let them. He might let them do their part to bring that to pass, and then he does the rest.
That's right. Yep. It says the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right. Yep. This is only this.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
I was just gonna say this is only the beginning of all these things coming to pass, and it's only going to intensify. Like that lady said in the article we just brought out, she said this is only the tip of the iceberg. And I got the definition. It says a small part of something, of a problem that is seen or known about, when there is a much larger part that is not seen or known about. So there's what you're seeing right now is just a tip, man. Right. And they're saying there's a much larger, bigger problem that is not known by the general public. But Yahweh, we be part of the elect. We the elect, we're telling you, hey man, this is only the beginning. This is only the tip. There's much more. There's a much larger and major problem that is coming into fruition, behind the scenes, and but the general public don't know that. They just think, oh, the tomato just going up 10-15%. It'll go back down.
No, it ain't going back down.
You need to intensify, man.
And if your tomatoes and this and that is only gone up 10-15%, you better buy a whole hell of a lot more. because
Right.
you getting a great ass price, and
Right.
it ain't gonna be down there long.
That's right.
Let's we can pull up at it's
I was
hard to
going
pull up.
to
It's
pull
hard
up
to
for
pull up.
22.
Let's go down to, let me see 24, bro. We got to stop soon, bro, because we gonna be at 2 hours.
Yeah.
See, we could go through all of this, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
But let's pull up at 20. Let's pull up at 23. Let's pull
Come.
up at 23.
Verse 19, second of 16 and 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord is going to send these plagues upon the world to correct you, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But what? It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So even though the Lord is sending these things, sending these plagues, famine, tribulation, anguish, the sword, destruction, because even though the Lord is sending this to correct you, simple-minded Jakes, you 2/3, you rebellious nation, you rebellious Israelites of the nation of Israel. Even though the Lord is sending these things to correct you, you're not even going to turn from your wickedness, nor be always no. You're not even going to think about the scourges or why it's happening. You just, oh, it's a coincidence, or oh, it's just our time. No, man, it's happening because the Lord Yahweh Shemshai is wroth, and He's sending these to correct you, but you're not going to turn from your wickedness.
You know the nature of our people, man.
Yep.
You doing something, then you get your ass whooped. You run into some consequences, you know. Our people, a lot of our people, some of our people had the mindset that the brother was just talking about, but a lot of our people also had the mindset, they kind of know in the back of their minds, you know, that, you know, there is a God out there, and you know, and he's kind of in control of everything. This is one of the things our people like to say: God is in control, God is in control, God is in control. So when these things start to happen, the people are like, man, I wonder if God is angry, maybe he's doing this. And I saw some guys out in bed sheets, and I saw some guys out in bed sheets and shower curtains,
Right.
and they were saying something about Yahweh Shemashah visiting the world with plagues. I wonder if, oh no. And then, you know, let me listen to these guys, and let me, you know, I'm a little bit afraid of the Most High right now. So, and then as soon as the Most High lightens things up a little bit, you just go back to what you was doing in the first place.
Yep.
That's what this is really getting at, man. You know, are you really, you don't really care about repentance. You just don't, you just want to get out of the plagues. You just want to get out of the punishment. You just want to get out of the chastisement. As soon as the chastisement, as soon as the plague, as soon as the punishment, the judgments are lightened up a little bit, you just go right back to what you was doing before, because you never was repenting. You never was repenting. You never was serious about repenting and pleasing Yahweh Shema Shah. See,
That's right.
that's why it says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Because when those scourges, you start getting hit with that switch, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do right, mom, I'm gonna do right there, I'm gonna do right there. And then as soon as that whooping's over and it's been a little while, you get back out there and you see what you want to do, you go do what you want to do again. You ain't thinking about that whooping.
Nope.
See? Yeah. So let's go ahead, bro. 21.
Verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall.
In the books. In the books.
Yep.
That it ain't the case no more. And that's in the rearview mirror and diminishing fast. That's how
Yep.
far along we are in the prophetic timetable. That's how close we are to the end. See, you know, when I first came into the truth and I was reading this scripture, that first part was still the case. It ain't the case no more. We have hyperinflation in the grocery stores. Low
Yep.
level, but hyperinflation. You can't just call it high inflation. You got low inflation, you got inflation, you got high inflation, you got high ass inflation, and then you got hyperinflation, starting at the low level hyperinflation. We're in
Yep.
a low level hyperinflation. We already through the high inflation, the very high inflation, and the high ass inflation. We're in the hyperinflation. So
Yep.
this first part ain't true no more. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. Go ahead, bro.
That they shall think themselves to be in good case, and
And
even
you
then,
did. You did. Go ahead. You did think you were in a good case. Go ahead.
shall evils grow upon earth, the sword.
Right. While you was thinking you were good, evils were growing upon the face of the earth, man. Evils were surrounding you.
Yep.
Evils was lurking at you, stalking you like a ravenous beast, stalking you. You know, like the cats do when they stalking through the tall grass to get close to the gazelle or the wildebeest or whatever. That's what evils was doing while you were sitting there eating.
Yep. It says, and even
Right. Go ahead.
it says, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
Right. Those evils have grown upon the earth to the point now where it's now it's in your face. Now it's impacting you.
Yep.
Okay. And what does that mean? It's too late. You hear these truthers, and these truthers are talking about, look, you know, if we don't do something soon, it's going to be too late. We got to do it before this part, or it's going to be too late. If we don't do that, it's going to be, man, it's been too late.
Right.
It's already too late. It was too late when you were born.
Yep.
and in that sense, it's too late. It's you can never do anything about it because it's the prophecies. It's going to happen. But even if you look at it from a human perspective, like, okay, if we turn this around before this point in time, then, you know, we can reverse this and prevent it from happening. Man, it's already been too late a long time ago.
Yep.
Even looking at it from a human perspective. Okay.
Mhm.
For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish, man. You're at 22 now. Go ahead, bro.
2 16 and 22. For many of them that
And Baba Kushar, leave the because we only going down to what, 23, right? Yeah. Never mind. Just go ahead, bro. It's cool.
it says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
Right. And and it's, you see how the Heavenly Father is doing. He's doing he's killing. You know, you're gonna have those that are getting killed by the sword as well, but you know, the worst punishment there is the punishment that he mentions first. For they that perish of the sword be better than they that perish of famine.
Yep.
Okay. For the ones that perish of famine, I think this is in Lamentations, but they that perish of famine, they pine away. You know, wishing for, meditating on, dreaming about, hallucinating for all the things they used to have. You know,
Mm-hmm.
their dainties, their victuals that they don't have no more. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down.
And the dead shall be cast out as dung. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, how more visual, how more graphic can you get? But, you know, that is a very graphic visual there. And there
Yep.
shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Okay. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. And you just keep going, but we're going to pull up. The trees shall get fruit, and who shall gather them? See, this is I think that's Isaiah 19, might be 24, where it says that the Most High has let me get that real quick, and then we're going to wrap up, bro. You can get any closing thoughts you got while I pull this Isaiah.
Yeah, man. The Lord Yahweh Shemshah is bringing great death, man, upon this earth. Like as it says in Matthew 24, the worst time in history, a time like no other. We're gonna be in those times, man, and you're gonna see just people just falling and dying to the ground, dying. It said 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but what? But it shall not come nigh thee.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why won't it come nigh thee? Because you made the Lord Yahweh Shemshah your protection.
Your
What's so
habitation.
Yep. While everything is coming upon this world, while everything is overtaking this world, the plagues overtaking this world, man. The elect of Yahweh Shemshah is going to be safe and protected because they made Yahweh Shemshah their forefront, their front burner, and that's what's coming upon this world, man. Great destruction. Everything is going. It said everything is going to be laid waste, man, and that's what's coming very soon.
Yeah, that's Psalms 91. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So Isaiah chapter 24, and it reads, right, and it's just a fitting end to this Shabbat lesson. Behold, Khan, call hello, Yahweh Shema Shah with 144. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty. Empty, man. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. The few men that are left, you know, just a few here, a few there, a few there, a few here.
Yep.
Okay. You know? Yeah, let's get 2, and we'll pull up at 3. We'll get 4. We'll stop at 4. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna be above this, man. Ain't no, well, this is, you know, well, the elite, they're gonna escape this. Well, the elite are going to escape because they're gonna be in their bunkers and all that. Their bunkers, their space stations, their deep underground military bunkers. They're gonna be in their retreats in the sea. You know, they got, you know, underwater, you know, resorts or retreats and underground retreats and all that, and then there's space stations, right? But you know, everybody else, don't matter how much money you got. And the only reason the Most High is letting them escape because they're going to be the first batch of slaves. They're going to be, you know, they're going to be. That's Psalms 149, the 149th Psalm, to bind their kings with fetters, their kings with fetters and their nobles their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron.
Yep.
And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servants, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. Utterly meaning extremely, all right, to the extreme level, to the extreme. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The hardy people of the earth do languish. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And before we do, we want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Okay, I want to say double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, respect to brothers teaching, pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. Adawan Radazad, this lesson was edifying and encouraging to you, Akim and the Akwap that may be listening and or watching. Ayashma Yakwana Azanyam Lashamai Shamai. Let him who has ears to hear. Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yashala.
Baba Kusha Abad Baba Ekta.
Bakusha Baba Ata.
Wakal Adawam.
Adawam.
Shalom Lahabakariam. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.